and wanted to also comment regarding the term signature as opposed to autograph.
Yes.
When you break down the word signature, because the man was talking about making it undersigned, it's my understanding that sig, nature, means against nature, as opposed to an autograph where the first letters, AU, equals gold in the periodic table, and that is why our autograph is as good as gold to them in their system.
Well, there may be something in that. Can I just add into that? You may or may not have heard when we were talking a few weeks ago about what a general executor does in terms of the only time a general executor signs is to effectively grant a warrant, grant a right. Yeah.
Okay.
That when we do sign in future, that we sign. If we're signing in the capacity of the Office of General Executor, then it would be Anthony Francis R. full stop, if it was me, or Francis R. full stop, would be my signature or autograph if I was granting a right. If they're forcing you into signing or autographing because of an application and it's by necessity, then we use the V full stop, C full stop, or the ellipsis, the ... So I just want to add that in when we're talking about signature or autographs, yeah?
Did you say the letter C full stop or just use ... after the signature?
Well, V full stop and then C full stop, and that represents via coactus, which means effectively under duress, yeah? Under stress.
Okay. Under threat, duress, coercion, so to speak.
Exactly, under coercion, yeah.
And then signing your, what would be termed or what they would recognize as your regular name, correct? So
yeah, you want to avoid signing what is identifiably a surname, because that effectively what we're trying to do is until, again, a few weeks ago we were talking about, or last week actually, we were talking about once you've achieved that you've got public notice of existence of the will and appointment of the general executor, then the next step is to reclaim your name as property, which is to have an apostille birth certificate conveyed to your estate. So until you've really got control of your name, the system is totally geared that the minute you say, yes, I'm Frank O'Collins, and they're owning the name O'Collins, then effectively you've identified yourself as a citizen or a slave. Yeah?
I understand that concept. So you're trying to get away from actually using what we would term a last name and simply use a first name with the R full stop after it in granting warrant as general executor, correct?
Yeah, correct. So there are a few things I just added in because you raised those topics, and they're good topics to raise.
I appreciate that clarification because I may not be the only one who is not well-versed in that that's on the call or would be listening to this later. Review is always helpful.
Yeah, no, it's good. Look, thank you so much for those. Did you want to cover anything else?
Yes, I just wanted to share that something that has really impacted my life recently that I'd like to share with others, and that is I was not aware that there was a real Indiana Jones that had devoted himself to this discovery and proof of biblical events and truth, and had done that with finding, helping to validate Noah's Ark and the location of Sodom and Gomorrah and the Israelites crossing of the Red Sea and destruction of the Egyptian army there. And I was most impressed, someone else gave this to me as a YouTube, searching this particular link, a truly astounding discovery, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone by telling them what the special secrets are there, but if anyone would like to check it out, it's the man's name. His name is Ron, R-O-N, Wyatt, W-Y-A-T-T. So if you put his name and put Jesus Blood after it, so just Ron Wyatt, Jesus Blood, and I suggest the 9-minute version, and I'm not going to spoil the surprise any more than that.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that.
Astounding.
Good on you. Look, thank you so much, and thank you for your questions, your comments, and also for listening.
I also wanted to say that I'm looking forward to having specific direction regarding where I'm going to be putting these 144 truths. I'm searching out bulletin boards.
Okay. Well, that is really ultimately a question for each and every man and woman, I guess. But it's a place that it is recognised as public notice. So it's a symbolism of it, really. Some people have said on the call tonight, whether at universities there are public notice boards. Others have mentioned, that with Indigenous and Native groups that there are places of public notice. And, of course, we have courts and other places that have public notice. So I leave it up to you where you feel, or schools or other places, what you feel you can do. But, look, thank you for everything you've shared tonight, and hopefully we'll hear from you again in the coming weeks.
Thank you very much. Blessings to everyone.
Good on you. Thank you. We've got a couple more questions before we get to the next caller. I just want to see if I can get these questions answered before we keep going. So the next question I've got here is from Dake7019. Any thoughts on the brutal murder of Muammar Gaddafi? Yeah, look, I'll make a couple of comments on that just quickly. I know there's been some discussion on whether, in fact, it is the real Gaddafi or one of his doubles that was murdered in Sirte. And I guess at this point we may not know. There's no doubt that the true Gaddafi was at one point a very handsome man, and that a number of his doubles, fiercely loyal doubles, were by no means as attractive as Gaddafi was. There's some argument that, going through plastic surgery, he'd really turn himself into a more bloated type character. So I don't know, but I think that would be a distraction. What I think is the significance of the events is this. The Green Book and the philosophies have for a great time been an anachronism, been an enigma, whilst Gaddafi officially was alive. Because whilst he was alive, there was a whole counter-movement of negative comments about him being a maverick, being kind of crazy, being evil, being all these different things. And so when you actually read the Green Book and read the philosophies, which speak almost, and this is the uncanny thing, speaking almost to a T about the same issues we've been talking about, it has been the character of him that has kind of turned a lot of people off. Now they have turned Gaddafi into a martyr, whether or not he really is dead or alive, but certainly symbolically now turned into a martyr. The Green Book is almost certainly going to become a manifesto right across Africa, right across Asia, and right across the Arabic world. And the ruling elite that saw this as a way to get rid of a thorn in their side have unwittingly unleashed possibly one of the greatest changes in terms of people thinking about things that could have happened, because that Green Book is going to become something of a sacred text over the next 5, 10, 15 years. So that's what I feel has happened. The ruling elite, being mentally ill, have absolutely done the very, very worst thing possible and have created a martyr and a movement that looks to the same values of freedom, liberty, and self-determination that we believe in if we believe in the Declaration of Independence. So let me get to the next caller, and then I'll keep going through the questions. So we'll go to Yoda Leahy, who will wrap up in a few minutes. Hello, can you hear us?
Hey, Frank, how's it going?
Good.
Good, yeah, I just had a comment on the counterfeiting. The thought that came to my mind was, we have to kind of look at what causes counterfeiting, or rather what causes a desire, and
yep.
would that desire even exist under a divine system?
No.
I just wanted to make that comment is all. So.
No, good point. And look, thank you so much, and we'll keep going. But yeah, there's certainly not that desire under the model. The key thing I would say with financial planning and looking at financial, there has to be a fairness, and no one can expect to get something for nothing. So the idea that we all become millionaires. If people want to be millionaires, I mean, they can be millionaires, but if everyone's a millionaire, then being a millionaire means nothing. You know, the principle is if I build the value of my house, then I should own that equity. Yes?
Right.
Yeah. So the system, and I think in 2 weeks' time, we'll look at being able to go through the whole Supreme Financial System, and we'll talk about these issues of the structures and safety mechanisms. So anyway, thanks very much for your comments, and we'll keep going. Good on you.
Right. Thanks, Frank.
Okay. Bye. Quick question here before we go to the next caller, and we'll wrap up in a few minutes. The question is, have you heard of the Zeitgeist Movement's resource-based money-less system? And if so, what are your thoughts? Based on what I've said tonight, I don't believe that it is a viable alternative. I've got a lot of time for the Zeitgeist ideas, but in recent times they've moved to describing trust structures and other things without necessarily foundation. The foundation, which is taking the enormous energy and resources in UCADIA, is what makes this different to just the ideas and the movement. And a resource-based financial system, gold is an example of a resource-based money system. If you want to run the world without money, then you can go back and see what they did with gold. So it's kind of naive in a sense. That's my gut reaction to the Zeitgeist Movement's idea of that. We'll get to guest 30, and we'll wrap up in a few minutes. So guest 30, can you hear us?
Yes, Frank.
Hi.
Yes, it's Wayne from Alberta, Canada calling.
Hi, how you going?
Great. I just wanted to thank you and Ron and Greg and everybody that's working with UCADIA. And I was just wondering about this gazetting. There's a video by a constitutional lawyer that used to prosecute for Health Canada against individuals in the natural health movement. But he's got a video called Too Hard to Swallow that's about an hour and 17 minutes. It's really interesting in the way the government passes regulations and laws. And about the hour and 7-minute point, he mentions about being able to change the regulations in this new bill C-51 and C-52 Health Safety Act and that. And he references Canada Gazette, that the government can publish changes twice in, and then it becomes law. And if you go to the Canada Gazette site, it looks like individual private people and corporations can also post there.
Yes.
And I just wondered if you knew about that.
Yes, I am aware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, but it's good. It's good to mention it because you've given it a practical example. We've mentioned Gazette as one of their tools along with their registers in the last few calls. And it's relevant because this is all part of the corruption that's taken place in administrative law. You know, the difference between administrative law and fiduciary, if you look at the list we did tonight on fiduciary, a deed must be followed by some formal acknowledgement. If there is no acknowledgement, then there can be no agreement. But if you look at administrative, they say that an act followed by delivery forms a contract, which proves that a contract cannot be regarded as an agreement. I mean, it's an absurdity. It's basically saying, I sent it. If you don't rebut it, then it's an agreement. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. Who's to say you got it? Who's to say you received it? Who's to say you read the Gazette? So it just shows you how base and low and tricky and corrupt they've made their own system. And whilst we will be developing Gazettes and other things, it will all be in concert with honouring fiduciary.
So should we be putting our notices in the Canada Gazette, the official government Gazette?
Well, we have the opportunity. Yes, there are times where that would be a very useful thing to do. If money permits, and if time permits,